Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 30th episode of our first run on YouTube for the House of Light expansion to Book of Hours, playing as the Archaeologist. We made it to Friday. I'm recording this very, very early in the morning, but let's make the most of the time that we have here today. So, if I recall correctly, we were preparing for the salon, so we've got... I think we were going to invite Denzel, which is why we have 4 invitations here. And then we have, in terms of, we were going to host in the garden. So we've got the orange jumble that we were going to use. That's for Serena. Olympia was going to get poached mackerel. Fraser was going to have beef. We had the magnificent roast potatoes for Corso, and then just regular roast potatoes for Denzel. I also noticed that we have a bunch of... This is always the catch to breaking this up this way. We seem to have used up all of our elements of the soul, and I'm trying to find out for what. So, if I have to, I can use the Servant's Kitchen range, but I have a feeling if I check, we'll have a book somewhere. Okay, so we're crafting Catwink. I seem to recall that I was going to try and read a book which was going to get me a lesson that I needed to work with. I could be mistaken, though. Let's see here. So I have the option of reading it as written. I could also try the Orchid Transfigurations, although that has the usual problem that I need the Grail. Okay, so we're getting a fear. I'm pretty sure this is us setting up to read It is written. Alright, so let's work with that. And then I imagine I'll probably want to pay to get some elements of the soul back, but we can do that at the Sweet Bones. A little water splashes on the stones of the well to nourish the mosses there. Now, I should double check. I think we've got a few pitchers of water around, but well, we've got a couple of glasses of water, but the pitchers are another question. The reason why I say this is, especially when I'm recording in between the weeks and such, or over the week as opposed to in a big block on the weekend, it's always easy to get confused as to what I've done on stream versus what I've done in the game. So I'm trying to think what the best approach would be in order to make the most of my elements of the soul. So I think I've got too much water hanging around the house doing nothing. And I don't think it would be a bad idea to get some vegetables. But the problem with the water is that it takes 90 seconds to restore something. So maybe one option that I have here would be to restore the metal. And the metal doesn't necessarily get me anything that I can sort of read books with, but what I can do is I can catalog a Dawn Period book with that. A quick nap in a warm bed with something comforting to drink while the winds chase the clouds and the clouds chase the sun. Actually, I also forgot to check if there was a to-do list here, but let me just see. No, it looks like I basically just put down the salon plans, which is fine. I imagine we can work our way through. I don't see a situation where we do the salon this like today, but I guess stranger things have happened. I think I'll restore the core in this case. It is spring and the landlady has served me a slice of her stargazy pie with the pilchard heads poking cheekily through the hot crust. The idea here is that I can do the gardening, which will get me the vegetables that I need. but I think we're still stuck. As far as the beef goes, I think I actually need to wait for the order. Oh yes, and we can make the potatoes whenever we want. All right. More catwink. So I think we'll find other uses for the tryst for the rest of the season. And then Shapt. I don't know. I think with Shapt, probably what I will do is I will try and earn a bit more money. Exorcism for girls. Simple but forceful Simple but excuse me. Simple but forceful techniques for rousting unbefitting spirits, written in straightforward and colorful language. Blake seems uncertain at points whether the techniques are intended for use by or on girls. She clearly regards children as a nuisance. Theirs' advice on the shapeless wood things known as raw prophets is typically practical. 1. Discourage them with buckets of water as close as possible to freezing, and with the smoke of dried lemongrass. 2. Under no circumstances kiss them or receive kisses from them. 3. An effective formula is provided for laundering clothes stained with prophet slime. Okay, let's get this book read. And then I believe we were using pentaments and precursors, so we've got 6 of the 8 required. Right, we were going to use catwink. I can master this mystery. Okay. So I think I have a pretty good idea of how to make the most of the day. So the reason I wanted to bring the core back was that it gives me access to the garden. I think I can also make the potatoes, but again, we've got a little bit of a bottleneck for the day. So I think I'll focus on getting through what I can. All right, better now. There's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can find 6 worth of odd jobs. Oh, of course, it's quiet season. All right, so much for the core plan. Yeah, so I guess that means... I think in this case I will go for the roast potatoes then. So the dripping would be what we would... the dripping would be for the magnificent roast potatoes, but we know we're going to have both, so... dish with edge, forge, heart, and winter. And rest, I deserved a little quiet time, so this is just so we can catalog another book. This book was probably written around the time of Hush House's Solar Gothic period, roughly between the 1000s and 1500s. If I examine it, I can learn more about what knowledge it might contain. Medusa's lament on the death of the hour called Seven Coils, the father of the mother. I think this is always a neat one, but definitely going to be a while before we can read that. Alright, I'm not too concerned about keeping, or restoring any elements of the soul because we're close to the end of the day. We have our potatoes. You really need rosemary for roast potatoes, but fortunately the kitchen garden at Hush House has never been short on rosemary. I don't think I worked out drinks for the day. And actually, I just thought if this is the 1 minute warning, I shouldn't restore an element of the soul. We should just have the day finish off. Okay, it is written. Musgrave, 4th of the DeWolf line, writes tentatively about the Covenant of Bradkrug and the legacy of the sacred inks he calls Incausta Potentialia. As the light passeth through a prism into many colors, so the great ink separateth into the lesser inks, and the lesser inks into inks minor. Musgrave coyly refuses to talk about the Great Inks, or else refuses to admit that he doesn't know much about them. He insists that Ugol and Stargol, which can be mixed with sufficient nectar or sky aspect, are sufficient for most befitting purposes. So a confounding parable for our trouble, and 2 inks of power. I think I may try to keep the confounding parable. This would be helpful for leveling up inks of power. The problem is I don't think I can keep the confounding parable in the bed in the Motley Tower. But let's actually, with that in mind, maybe it's good that I didn't use an element of the soul in the sweet bones, because I can buy back the health and then we can use that to level up. So acquire inks of power, use this lesson to acquire a new skill. I'll maybe just double check. I mean, tuppence is nothing to lose. Oh, so we could use this. Yeah, you know, let's make the most of the day. Tuppence will buy me a hearty meal and a quiet place where I can rest and gather my thoughts. Another leaf on the Tree of Wisdoms. Okay. There we go. There's always more to learn. And inks of power, the inks in which the histories are written. Now, I don't necessarily think that we're going to use the inks of power as a sort of replacement for our current catwink method, but it would be nice if we have a little more variety in terms of the inks that we produce, just long term. Okay. So the only drawback right now is we have a little bit more of a wait for the store memory, but we weren't necessarily going to use that anyway. Also, I forgot to put it is written down. I can never remember which one's the confounding parable shelf. There we go. He says after he gets it on the first try. All right, so let's think about the day ahead. So I guess the first step would be, let's think about any food that I can potentially make. So we've got the orange jumble. Poached mackerel is next on the list, so I think we should be using the Arab for that. Oh, pilchards. Oh, if I'm short on the mackerel, that is a problem. So perhaps what I try to do here, I think we use the tryst at Crowcross Sands to try and solve the mackerel shortage. Gather in spring. What has the sea seeded today? But I should probably work out a plan B for Limpy's food. The beef and the magnificent roast potatoes wait for our cater and hero order. I'm going to use the shaft to invite Denzil over, and this will either be so that I can get some well, okay, let's think about that. What are the memories for if I'm bringing him in? Well, satisfaction for one. But then the other nice thing would be, what room do I want to open with him? Because we should be able to do at least one. Yeah, the Shrouded Stair shouldn't even be a question at this point. So I'll maybe start with that as an idea, and then we may build our way up to something more substantial. Okay, and it's a sunny day, which doesn't... I don't think that translates into anything big for us in terms of actions that we want to take, but we'll see. And at this point, I'm just going to renew the shaft. I think I want to try and make a little bit more of my Elements of the Soul today. Okay, so for Denzil, there's a couple things that I'm going to do here. So one, we'll start with the metal. Collaborate metal, inspiration, and determination. Now, I'm going to just keep talking with Denzil to see if we can get the foresight from him. Again, I don't have a full plan in terms of what to do with the elements of the soul, but we got through so many of them in the first half of the previous day. It would not be a bad idea just to, you know, relax and acknowledge that I have some runway in terms of using the elements. Under these three, I don't see anything too important. We've got Fusine, Ramson, Sabazine, and Hyksos. So I don't think it hurts to just take a peek and see if any of these are readable. This is Deep Mandaic, Kilisimi, Kernwick, Hanavek. And these all look pretty difficult. So Light in the Inkwell or Prophecies of Glory might be something I could try and tackle, but I'm not optimistic. It's just that lack of Faust at this point. All right, our course is fixed. Now another thing that I can give to Denzel right away that's not going to change would be the square, the Mason's Pride. I can lend my assistant something to help increasing their abilities. It is worth reflecting on the fact that each time I do this, it is denying me a potential memory which I might be able to take advantage of. So I don't necessarily feel bad about it. We were going to do this at some point, but I am holding back any of the other progress over the course of the day by talking to Denzel like this. Okay. Speak to Denzel. He might even reply. Now I think I'm going to restore that medal here. It is spring and the landlady has served me a slice of her stargazy pie with the pilchard heads poking cheekily through the hot crust. I figure with the medal I have a few different options here. Now if I was particularly bold, I could maybe just make something of the glimmerings. I don't think I'm going to go that far. But it does allow us to work down on these books. And again, the world's kind of my oyster in terms of these remaining elements of the soul. And I suppose the outside option is always to well, I mean, I can make money, but money is not really the thing holding me back right now. Yeah, I think probably not any books, but some gardening, definitely Crowcross Sands. Okay, sea-strewn, salt-snared stuff. So the sand isn't exactly what I was looking for, but we'll make do. Okay. Just trying to see if I can get a little bit more direction for the day. Well, okay, this isn't the most exciting thing for me to think about, but let's take a minute here and think about what kind of drinks and such we're handing out. So I notice I actually don't seem to have the Cater and Hero Second Flush Assam. And then another thing I may want to consider would be the Veil Goddess Lamp. Like, so basically I just have a bunch of tea and such. Oh, here we go. So the Dawn Lion coffee is pretty easy for me to pour out and restore right now, so I'll maybe do that. Serve appropriately. Pour out. Yeah, so I need a couple of forge drinks. So I don't think the Dawn Lion coffee is a bad idea to wrong fireplace. Bring water to the boil, permit the potential here to express itself. Now, I don't think we have much in terms of scale drinks to offer right now. I think the Schloss Jannings is going to be what we hand off to Mr. Strathcoin, so pour out. Poured out. I'm gonna put this on the seat. Oh, actually, the Dawn Lion coffee would have covered that for that as well. Let's try and keep it uniform. I realize there's no gameplay benefit at all to doing this, but sometimes you do things because they make you happy. Okay, so 3 Dawn Lion coffee. So Corso needs Grail, and Denzel kind of gets anything. So I'm thinking maybe with Corso we use the cocoa. I don't think we have a. I don't think. Well, actually, the Witching to Sane, I suppose, would count as a. Yeah, you know what? Why not? Although it is kind of funny that everybody's drinking like coffee and tea, and then Corso's the one with the cocoa. I think that is sufficient for me to work with that. Okay, we may make another. We may brew another, but let's just leave that aside for now. Okay, hindsight doesn't do too much for me, but like I said, we'll keep running through this. Now, one thing, as far as Denzel's concerned, we're already up to 5. We are short a memory, so one of these I want to keep aside just so I can read a book. Trista's already spoken for. Am I using the sweet bones? Yes. Steam and scent both rise. It's ready. So this is basically already spoken for as far as the contents are concerned. Sad. We might. Oh, interesting. I wonder if we can get a 3rd on there. Okay, so the one thing we haven't got is Denzel's item yet, but we'll work on that. Fixing and mending. There's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. Okay, the memory foresight helps us. We will give that to Denzel right away. I can discuss a memory with my assistant. This will use up the memory, but boost the assistant's abilities for the rest of the day. Now, I'm not going to give up on trying to get a satisfaction from conversation with Denzel because I can still keep that overnight if I need. We'll use the Westcott desk, and we will catalog another solar period book. But yeah, so for the rest of the day, I'll probably want to figure out which of the this obviously I'm going to feel bad about using because this has exploration benefits. Memories don't last long outside books, but it's made the difference for the day. Actually, Evening Isles coffee works here. Then again, so does Dawn Lion. Yeah, we can keep serving. Oh, actually, we still have Dawnland coffee. I'll settle for the Evening Isles coffee. So, what of the elements of the soul? Well, let's say that because of the hour, we won't use the Arab for... We won't use the Arab for the book. Poured out. Now, we're going to serve that to Denzel today so that we can boost his forge. Since we're already at 7, we needed 9 to... Oh, please tell me I have a 9. Yes. The ill-omened tower. And the Sun's Lament, the first volume of the Meditations of Abbot Geoffrey of the Black Dove. So this will get us Ragged Crossroads, which we already have. We actually already have at level 3. So I'm not going to rule out leveling that up, but I definitely want to make sure that I have plans. This one goes to Illumination or Skolakosophy, which has a little bit of not an odd plan, but definitely a different plan depending on how the day works. Sea strewn, salt snared stuff. So not feeling great about the mackerel, but let's keep going. This is all kind of up in the air anyway until we get the package. So this works out nicely. We'll be able to restore and then spend one more time. And steam and scent both rise. It's ready. Oops. Alright. So we'll keep this on the shelf, but we'll pour it out once, just because that's going to be something we serve Denzel at the salon. Alright, coffee from beyond the sunset sea. So we're really at the point here where we just need to get the remaining food and then invite the guests. Now, we want to ideally get on with it, right? We don't have that much time left in the season. But again, a lot of this is dependent on the delivery. If I find myself in a pinch, I suppose the thing that I can reflect on is that the beef is the main course and the poached mackerel is a side dish. So if I want to change it around, we can serve pickled mushrooms. No, pickled mushrooms do not have scale. It would be pickled pilchards that we serve as a side dish. And then we can use the pheasant or the canned ham. Nope, ham doesn't have a forge. So the pheasant and the... what on earth was I thinking when I said it didn't have mackerel? Poached mackerel, a dish with forge, heart, and moon. Good lord. I've learned my lesson. I'm not doing this stuff late again. Alright, he does a lot with silence, this man. Let's give him the tea now so that I'll have the outside option as far as the opening the room. Not even outside option, just once the sun goes down. So, oh, there we go. Delivery from TRN Limited. Something delightful has arrived. Unwrap, unbox, unleash. So, it'll be a little close, but I think maybe what I'll do is I will invite the guests first thing. I need to make 2 dishes, so the real catch here is just getting the elements of the soul back in time, but we have the water, we have the... Oh yes, and I actually also have a health, so I can make one more dish today too. So yeah, we're fine. We'll definitely have what we need to get the salon done tomorrow. Alright, here's the beef. Roast it, or perhaps marinate it first if you have something intoxicating for the marinade. So 16 seconds and we'll start cooking the beef. Well, that'll give us the dripping that we need. Now, I rather expect we will get the next order form pretty quickly. More pilchards. I'm calling lies. I should have enough space for both of these. Okay. Poached mackerel. We do not poach fish in Brandkrug without recalling the turbot crisis of 1786, when Dr. Westcott caught a prodigious turbot and required the kitchen to poach it for him without division. But no vessel of sufficient size could be found to poach it entire. At last they resorted to alchemical assistance. Mackerel, fortunately, requires no alchemy for its poaching. How am I going to fit all of this onto the table? Alright. Health. Beef. Roast a beef joint, a dish with edge, forge, heart, and scale. In a pinch, we will ransack the vegetables, but that's a tomorrow thing. He does a lot with silence, this man. So in terms of elements of the soul that will be claimed, we're going to have... so Denzel... I'm going to need to get Denzel in, so that'll occupy the metal. And I'm also going to need to make at least one dish, so that will occupy the Arab. So that's going to be 2 minutes that we need to wait to restore... Or, sorry, 90 seconds that we need to wait to restore an element of the soul. The 90 seconds because I have a glass of water, which I can use to restore overnight. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. But this would also be why I'd prefer to avoid... That's why I'd prefer to avoid having to open the vegetables, because that's just another element of the soul that I need to account for tomorrow. Alright, we'll keep the storm, and we will get Denzel to open the the ill-omened tower. The stairway has been chained off, more than chained off. The whole thing is wrapped or swathed in chains. Authoritative sigils forbid entry. And I know we're basically at time, but we'll let the evening run through just so I can have an idea about what I'm up against in the morning. I was really thinking that we would get the Cater and Hero order in time. Okay, here's the dripping. Not an appetizing name, but use it to make rich leek or onion soup. With or without a knife, use dripping to exalt or with or without a knife, use dripping to exalt potatoes to their full potential. Our fathers of old were robust, stout, and strong, and kept open house with good cheer all day long, which made their plump tenants rejoice in this song. Oh, the roast beef of old England and old English roast beef. Yeah, I'm trying to think where we're going to find the space for the last dish. I think I'll probably just have to move it so that we have the the drinks on the table, and then one of the larger food items on the chair. Clearly, the garden was not designed with salons in mind. There's the Cater and Hero delivery. I'm happy. So this will mean that next week we're going to be starting with a salon. I'm sorry I couldn't get to that this week, but we'll... well, I mean, probably when it all comes down to it, likely what will happen is I will have the... I wonder... It's like playing Tetris now. I probably will have the better part of Monday's episode dedicated to figuring out the... Sorry, just trying to keep track. So I can probably fit some more potatoes on here. But yeah, so very likely on Monday's episode, a lot of it will be spent on just getting that final preparation in. So when I just take a look at what I need to do, for 18.5 seconds, we will wind up with the potatoes. So I will cook those. That means that the Arab needs to... I need to restore the Arabs. That's 1 minute before the invitations go out. I'm just trying to think... I'm willing to send out the invitations now, so... But yeah, so we're going to have one element of the soul that we restore. The other thing that I'll probably want to consider... Oh, actually, that'll also give me a satisfaction that I can work with, which will be nice. I may want to take a look and see if there's any elements of the soul that I can commit in preparation for the salon, just because, again, if I run into a kind of a snag, if the conversation... Oh, sorry, there's a second one that I need to deal with. Let's invite Denzel now. Speak with Denzel. I'm always welcome at Denzel's Smithy. And... invite Denzel up to Hush House. So, one element of the soul to restore right away. But again, we don't need to worry... we don't really need to worry about the timing on this, because it's already going to take... I think it'll actually so the 18 seconds will be used up by inviting the guests, at which point we we'll only have that minute. Yeah, so we don't need to worry too much about the timing. All right, so we invite Olympi. I mean, at this point, I'm kind of starting the day, but... Denzel inclines his head in thanks. Denzel has sent a gift ahead, so he gave us some milk. Denzel visiting. Denzel will attend the next salon in his cleanest clothes. Denzel knows more oddities than the average country blacksmith, but being both more taciturn and less erudite than some of the other visitors, may be slightly less productive of lessons. So when I'm looking, I will say, when I'm looking for lessons, I am a little more reluctant to add the villagers, but the villagers do actually have some nice interactions. And I will confess, in my other playthrough, I just like I like how excited the kills are to be invited, so I do make it a point to invite them when I can. Okay. So... the reason why I'm taking this time to do all this in the before we head to the next, or before I wrap up, I just wanted to lock in just the restoration and things like that. So, not quite ready to make the potatoes yet. I don't think I'm gonna impose myself on you that much longer. But let's get Serena's invitation in. Stamp, envelope, send. Okay, So yeah, I think the marching orders are pretty clear for the next little while. So what we'll do is we'll take the magnificent roast potatoes. So we have everything that we need for that. We've got the dripping. The potatoes will come out of the order. That'll take us a minute, and then we'll take another minute to restore the Arab. After that, I guess we wait for lunch, and then we will host the salon. So the expectation isn't necessarily that we're going to be able to satisfy every request for an element of the soul, but we're positioned to at least be able to get one or two. Where I could, I tried to pick people who had who were likely to request elements of the soul that I already have. I don't know if you ever need to use health. I don't think I've ever seen it. So, but Fraser does have that scale requirement. So. But we'll see. I mean, again, I don't need to... There's only just... to be honest, there's only so much that I control in the game at this point. So I'll see how the salon goes. If it's a disaster, then that kind of tells me what I already know, which is, I really need to get on committing things to the Tree of Wisdoms and leveling up the skills, which, of course, is the reason why we've been focusing on books where I can. And... if we well and truly get stuck in terms of reading the books that I have here, there is always that outside option of just, committing some stuff, even if it's not in an ideal situation or it's not quite the book I would have chosen or skill I would have chosen. Basically, I can, I can augment my skills with an element of the soul to just help me get a little bit further along the path on reading some of these books. Although I will be honest, I think probably the lack of some of the lessons is the bigger drag on the playthrough right now. But again, all of that will be handled next week. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you Monday. Although I'm probably just going to be recording tomorrow. Until then, take care.